Hello. So, an air alarm just went off. It's not good. Um, One sec. So from what I understand, this air alarm is for um, ballistic, not ballistic missile. It's for anyway. It's a missile air alarm. I can't think of the word right now. I don't know why it just like left my mind. Uh, but yeah, it's a threat. Not so much an imminent launch. Uh, yeah, I know a bunch of people in the Kiev area who have been waiting all night for for missiles. Whether they will come or not, I guess we'll see in the near future, maybe. Um, Anyways, so so the news lately has been slow, and there's somewhat of a reason for this. Um, Both Ukraine and Russia are on a bit of a media blackout. It's not like an official media blackout, but it is kind of an unofficial media blackout for both sides. So it's kind of weird because it's usually in the past when we've had these media blackouts, it's usually Ukraine and Russia keeps reporting stuff, but now it's kind of like both are in a media blackout. So there's not much news, to be honest. There's just not much. So I don't think I'm going to even talk about news because there's so little. I guess there's some stuff I could talk about. Um, First, there've been a number of strikes that are pretty deep. Um, in Mykolaiv, they got hit by, I believe, calibers last night. Um, it destroyed um, this building. I actually don't know what this building is. Uh, it was like a government building of some sort, workout area, whatever this is. Anyway, hit like that building. Um, Killed a bunch of people. Also hit a residential building. I'm sure you all know that. But anyways, the today or last night rather, there's I think at least one drone flew into this Ravenki area of Luhansk. This is not the first time. I told you earlier. I told you on Tuesday that there was another drone attack that was more successful than this drone attack. But and the Russians got really upset about at the first one. Like they were like really angry, like super angry. And Ukraine just kind of like sent another one for like a joke, I guess. I don't know. They sent another one, and it kind of crashed. It didn't do any damage. It kind of like crashed right here. It made Calendar Man show up. I can show you a picture of Calendar Man. Uh, Here he is. In a little crater. Um, this You see this like concrete in the bridge. Um, it's this concrete in that bridge. So it kind of crashed like somewhere there ish. Um, so so yeah, that was the thing that happened. And beyond that, there's a whole bunch of news out of Melitopol today, where in the beginning, like in the morning or whatever, whenever it happens, it happened before I woke up, so to me it was the morning. There was a bombing in this building right here that killed a Russian collaborator, and then later in the day, there's apparently a bombing in this building. I'm not 100% sure about this one, but there was an explosion anyway, reported, and this street here, from here to there, was closed, and a whole bunch of ambulances showed up. I'm not really sure what happened there. And then there was also a report of a strike, a Ukrainian strike on the airport. So that was kind of Melitopol had a lot of news today. A lot of it, no, like none of it's confirmed. It gets kind of weird. There's also rumors of a strike in Nova Alexivka, which is kind of weird. I don't actually know if the strike happened. It's really far away. I don't even know what would do the strike. Maybe a drone. There were rumors of in Veliki Kopani, of two collaborators being assassinated, although that is unconfirmed. There, this is an actual confirmed strike, which is nice. But right here in Oleshki, Ukraine destroyed a grad in a Ural truck, and in Nova Kharkovka, Ukraine. I don't actually know which school it happened in, so I just kind of marked an arbitrary school. But in one of these schools, Ukraine blew up a ammo cache and apparently knocked out the power in part of the city as well. So that's kind of the deep strike news for today and yesterday too, actually. Um, oh, and there was a smirch hit Zaporizhia, but more kind of to the point of everything. A lancet struck a tor right here, and there's a video of the tor kind of driving down the street or down the highway, and it got hit by a lancet, which was upsetting. So over the past few days, Russia has released a number of videos of Lancets hitting air defense systems. One was a Gepard, one was a Tor, and I think four other S-300s. Um, so there's just one overarching thing that I want to say about these Lancet strikes is that Russia has their general way of doing things, and they've done this, forever. This is like their thing. They recorded a whole bunch of videos, and then they release all the videos all at once. It doesn't mean all the videos happened at once, and it doesn't mean the videos happened in the order that they released them. But this is the thing that happens. They take a whole bunch of videos, and then they release them all at once. So, over the past day or so, there have been a whole bunch of videos of Lancet strikes. Does this mean that all the Lancet strikes happened all at once? No. We don't know when the Lancet strikes happened. I don't see any way of really even knowing what day any of this happened. Like some of them could have been a month ago. We don't know. But they released them all at once. And they are damaging things, especially the S-300s. The Tor and the Gepard, I don't think are very damaged. The Gepard for sure can be repaired. The Tor, Ukraine doesn't have many spare parts, so I don't know about the Tor. But the Gepard I think is fine. Like it might be unusable for a while, but it'll be repaired and be fine. The S-300s are definitely toast because they like literally exploded. So um, yeah, I don't really know what to say about these Lancet strikes because we knew Lancets were an issue. We know that there are really only there's like three things you can do about a Lancet. The first thing you can do, and also none of these three options are foolproof. The first thing you can do about a Lancet is you can hide your vehicles under netting and hope that the netting catches the lancet. And that works sometimes. But you have to move the vehicles eventually. You can't just hide under a net all day. The other thing is lancets have to be directed by something. So typically it's an Orlan drone, although it can be a different type of drone. But typically it's an Orlan, so you can shoot down all the Orlans. Okay. I mean, Ukraine's been working on it. It's easier said than done. They shoot down Orlans all the time, but there's still more. So that's another thing. And the third thing you can do is shoot down the Lancet itself. Um, and shooting down a Lancet is not necessarily that difficult to do. You just gotta put some bullets in it, and the Lancet will crash and blow up. So Lancets get shot down pretty frequently when there's an opportunity to shoot it down. And having heard from people who have shot down a Lancet, apparently it's not that hard. It's pretty easy, actually. But the issue is that Ukraine doesn't have the deployed resources to shoot down Lancets. So in order to shoot down a Lancet, you would need, give me a second, you need one of these guys. Uh, you need an anti-aircraft gun. And Ukraine has these, but the issue is that they don't have that many trained people because they never took the time to train people. Um, and there was a movement in Ukraine to train people, but they were pretty much vetoed, and the training never happened, which is unfortunate now. To put it bluntly, like everybody saw this coming years ago. This isn't like a new problem that just like showed up. Like everybody knew that these loitering munitions were a threat. This like it didn't take a genius to know that the easiest way to shoot them down is to literally shoot them down, and the easiest way to do that is with something like this, which Ukraine has a whole bunch of. So when you can put them on a truck, like that. They're not new ideas. These are all like old things that've been around for decades. But Ukraine just never took the time to train the people, and it's something that it takes practice. It's not difficult; it just takes practice. Um, so these are the problems of the Lancets. The other problem of the thing that I have a problem with is that the West doesn't really have their own Lancet, except for the thing that the Lancet is a copy of, which is the Hero. And I've talked about the Hero a lot, so I'm not going to talk about it again, other than to show a picture of it. But the Heroes are really good. See, here's your little Hero. The Lancet is a cheap knockoff. It's like a dollar store knockoff of a Hero. But this is the frustrating part to me, that we can't give Ukraine heroes because heroes are from Israel and Israel won't give them any, and we can't give them something else because nobody else developed it. Like the United States doesn't have one, Germany, France, they don't have them. Let's say only Israel does, and Israel won't give them. So, and the frustrating thing is that the U.S. military and the German military both use heroes, so they never bothered developing their own drone because Israel did it already. Switchblades are different. Like Switchblades, first off, Switchblades are they're not as good. Like they're not as good. Their software isn't as good. And the software really is everything. The tracking, the ability to hit things, the tracking, there's like all that sort of stuff. It's all software, and the Hero is the best. So the Switchblade has like its range is different. I mean, there's like a lot of different heroes, so it's like hard to compare them all at the same time. But the range is different. The software is different. It's not as accurate. They carry basically the same warhead, and the Switchblade is just not as good. It's not as good, and it's more expensive. As for from what I understand, I think a switchblade costs as much as like 3 heroes or something like that. So it's just like, and a hero is just it's more battle tested. It's been around longer. It's been around for I don't know like 10, 15 years or something. It's like not a new platform. It's been around for a while. Whereas a switchblades like just came out. They're not really proven so much. The old switchblades were used a lot, but the old switchblades weren't that good. Like this the 300s, they're very limited in capability, whereas the heroes are a lot better. But that's kind of the thing that bothers me. Like the effectiveness of a lancet is, I mean, it is what it is. There's your solutions are, I mean, it's shoot down the lancet, shoot down the Orlin, or hide. Like those are your three choices, and none of them work perfectly. So you're going to take losses. The frustrating thing is Ukraine can't do it back to Russia very easily. I mean, they have those cheap drones like the little race car drone things, but it's a totally different thing. You know, like Lancets are much bigger. They carry a much bigger warhead. They can blow up a tank. You know, and like a hero carries like the same kind of warhead as like a javelin. You know, so it can kill anything it touches. It's a different weapon. Yeah, the Switchblade 300 is basically like a 40 millimeter grenade. Like literally, it's like a 40 millimeter grenade um, that you can fly around. And I mean, a 40 millimeter grenade, it can do something. You can kill a BMP with it if you get a good hit. You can kill a BMP. A 40 millimeter grenade, the warhead can go right through a BMP, but you'd have to get a really good hit because the BMP is mostly empty, you know. So you'd have to like hit something important. But anyways, so that's kind of the Lancet destruction. Just don't fall for the propaganda. They want you to think everything happens all at once, when in reality it happens over a period of time and a period of space. You don't know. I mean, in a sense, like the Lancets where they happen don't matter, but it just they trick you with this. They do it all the time. This is kind of like Russia's thing. They like this sort of lying because they can say it's technically not lying because all the videos are real, but it's lying in that they didn't all happen at once. It's not like some big wave. It's something that happened over a period of time. Like these are all of their successes over like the past month, if you want to put it a different way. Um, okay, so I guess we can get the Bakhmut. Um, First off, speaking of artillery advantage, in Bakhmut, Ukraine withdrew um, one of their artillery battalions, which was a battalion from the 26th Brigade. It was probably the best artillery battalion in the Ukrainian army. They're kind of like their job is to stop the bleeding when something very bad happens. They show up to stop the bleeding. So when this whole northern section was collapsing, this artillery battalion showed up, and they halted the Russian advance in this area, like right here. Um, they stabilized it for a while, um, and then Ukraine decided to withdraw that battalion and replace them with a brigade. The brigade is the 55th Brigade. So they sent in the 55th Brigade, and that battalion from the 26th left, and they went back to the 26th Brigade, which is up near Kupiansk. So they were stable. That battalion was stabilizing, like largely like this area here. Once they left, Russia decided to I mean, Russia gained the capability of attacking into this section of highway, which was not great. As you know, we've talked about this a bit before. So um, I just wanted to kind of put it this way in that um, Ukrainian artillery has the ability to dominate the Russian artillery and the Russian advance when they choose to be able to. Ukraine has elite, like really good artillery. It's just that that artillery can only do it can only cover one area at a time, and they covered right here until they had to leave, and they replaced it with a brigade. That brigade is not bad. They're actually pretty good. They have a lot of Western technology. They have the Susannas. They have other stuff. They have Caesars and Susannas. I think those are their main thing, and I think they have some M777s as well. So like the 55th Brigade, it's not bad, but they're not as good as that one battalion, which is like the best battalion that Ukraine has. So, anyways, um, in in Bakhmut, it's not going so good, to be honest. The center of the city, I have heard very little news from the center of the city, and the reason that there's very little news is because the fighting is so intense that nobody has time to talk. They're all too busy fighting. So that's not. It's really not a good situation. I don't think Bakhmut is going to last much longer. Right now, it seems that Ukraine is pivoting to a defense where instead of right like before their primary goal was to defend Bakhmut itself, but now they're kind of pivoting to not letting Russia leave Bakhmut once they capture it. The Gepard was shot. It was hit by a lancet when it was driving down the street, so it was not in like actively in air defense duty when it got hit. So it was like driving. So um, now whether I'm sure a Gepard can shoot down a lancet. The issue with shooting down a lancet with a Gepard is that you probably won't get much warning in the Gepard because the lancet's gonna show up real fast because it's gonna hug the train. Like it's going to probably be flying near the tree line, like the top of the trees. And I'm not sure how good the Gepard is at telling the difference between a tree and a lancet. There's probably I don't know. I really don't know how good it is at doing that sort of thing. But if it gets locked on, then it's definitely going to shoot it down. The Gepard will shoot, its explosive shells that should explode in front of the drone and kill it. But in Bakhmut, Ukraine really wants to make sure that Russians, whenever they capture Bakhmut, and I don't know when that'll happen, it could happen tomorrow, or it could happen like 2 weeks from now, who knows? But there's really not much left. But anyway, whenever they capture the end of the city, which is kind of right here, um, Ukraine really wants to keep the Russian forces in Bakhmut, meaning they want to make going from like the edge of Bakhmut to like anywhere else, like Ivanivska, anywhere else, to be a death trap. That's kind of what they're going for at this point. This seems to be what they're pivoting to as their primary strategy around Bakhmut. Um, I think, I think honestly, Ukraine is withdrawing from Bakhmut. They've been withdrawing from Bakhmut for a long time. This is just what withdrawing from Bakhmut looks like. It's getting just they're losing the city. If you haven't noticed, they've got like what is this? Like 4 days ago, 4 days ago, 5 days ago, or whatever, Ukraine was here, and like now they're like here. Okay, so like it's not a great like this is they're withdrawing. Let's just say it. They're withdrawing. They might not. They're not like leaving like unnecessarily. Like they're not just like packing up and going, but they're pulling out like as they get attacked. You know what I mean? They're like just coming out. Well, if you think about Bakhmut, I heard that like Russia is dropping like 30 of their glide bombs a day, like 30 glide bombs a day, I believe. And they're in Bakhmut, they're dropping like 18 of them. And then if you look at all of the offensive, like all of the assaults they do per day, like they do what, like 100 a day or something, and like 80 or 90 of them are in Bakhmut. And then you look at like how many tanks they deploy to Ukraine, like most of them are in Bakhmut. And then if you look at like how many like infantry battalions they deploy, most of them are in Bakhmut. So Bakhmut is just consuming all of these Russian resources that if you were to redistribute all of these bomb strikes and airstrikes and all of these infantry battalions to other locations, it could be doing probably more damage. All of that stuff would probably be doing more damage somewhere else, which kind of points to the kind of the stupidity of attacking Bakhmut in the first place. But they're like in too deep. They're like they're in too deep. They have to capture it now because otherwise they look stupid. Um, yeah, and obviously one of the issues in Bakhmut is that Ukraine can't put many people in Bakhmut. They can't put many people here because there's no way to supply them. So Ukraine is constantly heavily outnumbered just because they can't put more guys there. They have to they pull people out. They don't put people in. So yeah, it's just it's an untenable defensive position at this point. They're just buying time really. They're buying time. Um, so I don't really have that much to say more about Bakhmut. I've heard that the guys south of Bakhmut, in like Ivanivska and like this whole area, and I'm assuming this area too. I'm not really sure. When they tell me this, I'm not really sure what they mean by south of Bakhmut. I'm pretty sure they mean like Ivanivska, maybe this area, maybe this like Bilahora area too. I'm not sure. But anyways, they're taking really heavy casualties. Is kind of the point. The area south of Bakhmut is taking heavy casualties. Bakhmut itself is taking heavy casualties. This area north of Bakhmut, I don't really know how many casualties they're taking, but it's probably a lot too. Ukraine is withdrawing. With okay, so you're asking, will Ukraine take casualties withdrawing? They're withdrawing now. This is like, they are withdrawing. They used to be here, like not even a week ago. It was like 4 days ago. They're there. Now they're here. Eh, Okay, so like they're withdrawing. There's like what, like 3 blocks to go? Like they're withdrawing. Um, and yeah, Ukraine is taking heavy casualties. They are. And so is Russia. Russia's taking heavy casualties. And people say that Ukraine is losing their best guys. You know what? Russia's losing their best guys. There are people, Russia is sending in forces that are wearing literally hundreds of thousands of dollars of equipment per guy. Those are like, the best guys Russia has to offer. You know, I mean, whether Bakhmut is worth it, I guess we'll find out in a few years. I don't think we can really analyze that today. It's gonna take time to analyze that sort of thing. But personally, I think they should have withdrawn in like February. But I don't know. It's it's hard to analyze that sort of thing. So once Bakhmut is lost, the battle is probably going to turn to this kind of big pile of mud right here. And that's what Ukraine is really kind of looking forward to, is pulling their forces back and just shelling Russians as they cross this just giant pile of mud. And eventually it will probably reach some sort of front line around here, probably. I imagine. Where Chasiv Yar will be one of the main defensive positions, and it will kind of go like that. Um, but I guess we'll see in like 2 months or something where the front line is. Um, the Russian attack to the flank, it it was unfortunate. It shouldn't have happened. I think this is something that Ukraine is going to have to learn from. Constantine, is that you? Oh no, it's Paul. Hi, Paul. Anyway, so this kind of flanking attack is something that Ukraine is going to have to learn from, I think. But it shouldn't have happened. Like going from Solidar all the way out here shouldn't have happened on paper. Ukraine had all of the forces necessary to hold this area. They had all of the equipment they needed, all of the forces they needed, but it just didn't work out somehow. Um, and that's something that they're going to have to do some sort of like, um, you know, after, you know, after combat report or whatever it's called. They're gonna have to do that sort of thing for this. It shouldn't have happened. Honestly, it shouldn't. Um, anyway, so getting down to Orikhiv, there was some video that came out today of Ukrainian strikes around south of Orikhiv, especially around Nesteryanka, where there were more video. Like a few of the videos, I could not locate the positions because it was just so zoomed in. I couldn't tell. It just looked like trees of a truck in it. But it was from Nesteryanka somewhere around here. I actually think it was from like over here. But these are positions of Kamaz. I think it's a BMP-3 and another Kamaz. Uh, it's kind of interesting to see the exact locations of Ukraine destroying Russian equipment, how far back they are relative to known Ukrainian positions. It's informative, you know. So very recently there was a heavy strike on Vilnyansk, where Russia struck this city or town or whatever this is called. I guess a town. They struck the town on the train tracks, and there was a large fire right here in this part of town. Um, Now, it makes you wonder, why would Russia be attacking this train town? Maybe Ukraine was moving something into town. Notice that this train wraps north and goes north, 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 north. So it goes up to like Pavlograd or whatever. So, um, what could Ukraine be moving into Vilnyansk? It makes you think. So, and now we are seeing lots of strikes uh, around the front lines all over. There was heavy shelling in Ploy today. There was there's been heavy shelling in Kinsky Ristori. There's been shelling all around Kopani and Rabitny and Nesteryanka and all of these areas around the front line. So this is all pretty uh, and mixed in with the train news. It kind of hints towards something that could be brewing in the future. Uh, I, but oh, I guess we'll see. Anyway, Paul, are you there, Paul? Sort of. That's the answer. You're sort of there. Okay. Okay. So that's kind of all the news I got. There's like really not so much news other than that. Um, so we talked about Bakhmut, we talked about the Zaporizhia area, and that's about all I got really. There's been heavy fighting on, I mean, it's relatively heavy fighting on these islands. There's been fighting on Kinburn Spit. Hey, Paul, you're there. Hi, Paul. Yeah, no problem. Yeah. So, anyways, Melitopol. Yeah, what? Yeah. Yeah, the one south of it. Yeah, in Novo-Alexivka. Paul is Paul, introduce yourself. Okay. Well, I'll tell you that thing. um, one sec. Yeah. Yeah, there we go. Okay. Okay. Yeah, people thought I was crazy because my Discord plugin broke again, so they thought I was talking to someone named Paul, and they couldn't hear you, so they just thought I was crazy. But there is a guy named Paul here, and he just introduced himself. But if you heard it, so let's just go on like nothing happened. It's great. Anyways, um, Yakovlivka, yeah. I don't want to go back in time and talk about Yakovlivka. People are all really into talk about Bakhmut right now. Um, and I'll tell you, um, the reason why sometimes people don't aren't heard in Discord is because my plugin in OBS for Discord, it just occasionally it just doesn't work. I don't. It doesn't like tell me that there's an error. There just is an error, and I just have to find out the hard way. Um, I don't have any news from Vodiana. Russia attacked from Opitna towards Avdiivka, but didn't do anything. They attacked towards Sevierna, and it failed again. Attacking Sevierna is like brutally hard, and I don't know why Russia's even trying. It's just all perfectly flat. You can't get there, so it's kind of pointless. Um, uh, they're attacking Pervomaisky. They attacking Krasnohorivka. There's some videos recently of Russia shelling this house, just this house. They hate it, and also these two, all these three houses. Russia just hates those houses. So um, there's been shelling around Novelska. I showed video of that on Tuesday. Um, some a whole bunch of destroyed Russian vehicles in this field. Um, there have been Russian attacks on these forest strips. I have not been able to talk to my sources in this area. They've been busy. They don't have time to talk. Paul is not a ghost. After I told him that my plugin didn't work, he muted himself. So now he's just trying to make me sound like a crazy person. There is a guy named Paul here, I promise. He's just
So
there he
here's
is.
just
Back.
you that can hear me.
They could hear you now. I just before they
Okay,
couldn't.
all right. Well, I do have one question here. Not in this location. Going back to Melitopol in that southern region. I mean, do we have an indication what was used to hit those targets down? They said the Melitopol airport got hit, or there was something that happened there,
Yeah.
and then down towards Naha, whatever it was called, south of Melitopol,
Novo Alexievka.
it hit it. Like was it a missile?
I have
Drone?
no
How?
idea.
Yeah.
What okay, so this is a series of events that I don't know if they're connected. Okay, I don't know if they're connected. But first, I I heard that Ukraine hit the Melitopol airport, and then very very shortly after, like within 5 minutes, Yermak posted. I'll show you what he posted as soon as I find his account. Uh, he posted this. Uh, uh, that so first I heard that Melitopol got hit from a reliable source that it got hit, and then he posted this, which was kind of funny, and then I heard that the airport got hit. Um, and that was all within like a very short period of time. So one person said Melitopol got hit, another's just put missile emojis, and then another said the airport got hit. I don't know what hit it. I'm not 100% sure if anything hit it, to be honest. Um, and also this same person reported that Novo Alexievka got hit. Without any real explanation. He also said that Nova Hakova got hit.
Nice. I think it's a pretty. I mean, if it's true, of course, but big, it could be quite substantial. I mean, right? Remember, Russia moved back their major supply hubs, backward. I don't know the distance from, call it Novakhovka to the place I got potentially hit by HIMARS or something like that, maybe. But that could be a major logistics hub, or a major ammo depot of substantial size. So I'm pretty excited about it.
Did I still not hear Paul? I swear to God, Paul's here. I feel like I'm being gaslit. Oh, God damn it. You know what? I'm gonna turn on a stream, and I'm gonna need you to talk so I can hear if they can hear you, or if they're just messing with me. Here, say something. Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you on the stream. It's
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah. So
Okay.
yeah, crazy. They're just messing with you now.
Now you're trying to gaslight me. Okay, so yeah. So yeah, this is I imagine this whole area is major logistics because this is going, right up that highway. Because Inichesk or whatever this place is called, this is itself is a major logistics area. Russia had to go through and like this like highway here is like it used to be like a 2 lane highway, and Russia went through and like widened it into like a 4 lane highway. So like this road is like bigger now. And then this other town, Novo Alexivka, is like the next town on that highway. So yeah, this that would be and this highway goes all the way to Kahovka. Like, it goes all the way to the bridge basically, right? So the bridge that is broken. But anyways,
Yeah, it's a really good story. Like if you're trying to get Russia to do something, they're building this whole storyline from Novakhovka all the way straight down to Crimea, basically almost. And yeah, I think I'm not sure what like if this is true, of course, what the Ukrainians is, we don't need to know. But to me, it builds a very good story of like intent, right? So I think it's just a very interesting development today that caught my eye for sure. And is the Kerch Bridge functioning again, or did they ever fix that, or no?
um, it's been passable. I don't know if it's 100% fixed yet. I think you can. I think it's fixed for cars. It's not for trains yet, but I think it's fixed with cars. I'm pretty sure. It's at least passable for cars because like for a while, they put all the traffic on one bridge because the Kerch is actually like like 3 bridges, right? Because there's like one car bridge in each direction and then one rail bridge. So like only one of the car bridges broke, so they put all the traffic on the one bridge, and so it was like anyway, it was like a 1 lane in each direction type deal.
Yeah, rail because the rail bridge got damaged too from the molten melting
Yeah, yeah. That was
So I wonder if that's been fixed or passable.
the
And
the
yeah,
rail bridge. They've been working on fixing it. I don't think it's open yet.
my eye today, Andrew, was just kind of the tone about Bakhmut. Obviously, I think it served its you know
But
to that.
it's kind of like Bakhmut is just depressing to me. Because it's just so many people died there, like so many. And there's like the whole story to it. Like this battle is just like think about like how long this battle was. Like this is from August, um, uh, beginning of August 2nd. Uh, so like it's just crazy like how long they've been fighting in these areas from July 25th. It's just like it's so long. And they've been fighting in Bakhmut proper for 182 days, fighting in the city limits of Bakhmut. They've
What's so critical about that to me, that's longer than the Battle of Stalingrad, which is nuts to me, right? Like that's crazy.
yeah, they Wagner has captured on average 400 square meters a day.
Yes, yeah, that's horrible. It's good for Ukraine.
400 square meters a day. That's like that's like a 20 meter by 20 meter box per day.
Mm. It's about probably equal amount of lives.
I don't know. I mean, the estimates are that they lost like 30,000 something men doing it.
A
Uh,
lot of the I'm not sure if it's propaganda or not, but like a lot of the noise about Wagner is they've it's like a declining PMC. It seems to me, and kind of like at the end stages of itself. I'm not sure if that's accurate or not, but that's kind of like my impression of the stuff I've been seeing and reading. And there's a competing PMC now, like next to him, they got in a gunfight with each other even. So I don't know, something's afoot about it, I think.
Yeah, Gherkin, I'm gonna call him Igor because I just like calling him Igor. Igor, he uh, he estimated Bakhmut as a circle where Wagner was moving in from every angle, which is not really true. It's also not true. It's kind of like a hemi circle, uh, or I mean a semicircle. It's kind of like a semicircle, but that's why that's what Igor's estimate was. Is he said Bakhmut was a circle and it was being attacked on all angles, and and in that way Wagner moved however much per day. But the other way of saying it is that Wagner moved um, uh, about 400 square meters per day, and that's only in Bakhmut, by the way. It's not counting all this other area where obviously they also advanced north and south of Bakhmut.
Any news like down in Tokmak, Tokmak? Not
Uh,
just today, like the past weeks.
there was a report that it got struck today, but I couldn't. Um, I didn't really trust the
If it's
person who
nice.
said it. I don't really trust that guy very much because he just says things sometimes. But it's been getting hit. It's especially and also this Malochansk area, which is like the town southwest of it. So they've been hitting. It's kind of hard to know because there's really so little information comes from Tokmak. Like I never see um like Russians post videos of what's hit. But I'm pretty sure what Ukraine is hitting is kind of this industrial area in the south of the city, because there have been some uh, I have seen some geo located strikes, and that they've all been in this area of Tokmak, and they've also been hitting Molochansk, so that they hit
Rail?
these areas occasionally.
Where's the rail line in Tokmak if there's one?
Um, I don't know.
It's okay if you don't.
Oh no. I think there is a rail line. I just don't know where it is. Oh no. Oh, it's in the south.
The joke I have, and I call this like the Bastogne of southern Ukraine because there's six roads going in and six roads going out. Roughly, there's probably more, but on the bigger maps that I look at, that's like the basic maps. Yeah, this is like a major supply hub in like this is how they supply Melitopol, and so I don't know. This is a close area to watch, and I find it very interesting. Strikes in Melitopol, the other place down southwest of Melitopol, and potentially Tokmak all in a single day. That's awesome.
Yeah, there's Mykolaiivka. People don't really talk about this enough. This is a major base, major base. There's even a little ghost here. I think they abandoned something here. Yeah, they abandoned the police station for some reason. Wait, what? Okay. I thought I said this.
Abandoned bases, Andrew. Remember, there's one in Crimea. I don't know. There's a before and after satellite imagery yesterday. A couple of days ago, showing a Russian vehicle depot. Like hundreds of vehicles were there, then they disappeared. And do you know what I'm talking about? And then
I
two, do
saw
you
the
know what
picture. I saw the picture. Yeah, I have no idea what happened to it. Um, but this Mykolaiivka area, people don't really talk about it enough. It's super important. There, I've used to get almost daily. It was kind of like every 2 or 3 days, reports of Russians moving around this area, but I don't get those reports anymore. Like the guy who would write them and send them to me, he stopped. I haven't talked to him since. Like I have no idea. I don't know what happened to him, but he doesn't send them to me anymore. But yeah, it was all of I was marking all of these areas as he was sending them to me, but I just I don't get the news anymore, so I haven't marked it in a while. Um, but yeah, there's
How far is it Mykolaiv from Enher power station?
from Mykolaiv to Enerhodar.
Mhm.
Uh, it's 30 miles. Was that like
Uh,
50 kilometers?
mhm. Well within HIMARS range on the other side of the lake there, for sure. Still.
Yeah, you could easily shoot that place.
Say there, what was that range?
It's like 20 miles. It's well within HIMARS range with Gimlers because they shoot Melitopol. That's like way further away, you know. So, anyways, I wonder what this chest. Oh, ammo warehouse. Sometimes I forget what these icons are because I don't look at them for a long time. This is like a vehicle storage. Oh yeah, they were keeping all these vehicles in the kindergarten. This this kinder they I remember seeing the photographs. They like drove vehicles into this courtyard of the kindergarten and they just packed it full of vehicles. I don't know whatever happened to that. I don't know if they're still there or what. But it was pretty funny the photographs. But anyways, yeah, and this whole area down near between Mariupol and Berdyansk, this is this is like really an important area. Um, a lot of people talk about Mariupol being like the important city. It kind of isn't. Berdyansk is really the vital city in the south because it's just all of the Russian logistics kind of comes from here. But if you look at the area between them, and this is and remember like I haven't really been updating this so much, but you know Russians were building defenses on this border between Donetsk and Zaporizhia. So this like literally along the Zaporizhia Donetsk border, they're building these trench lines, and Rzuf first they set up a command base, so like their officers were all here, and now as of a few days ago, they've been sending in a whole bunch of enlisted guys, and like all of these smaller places. These are all just full of Russian soldiers. And I put notes here. You can like read them on the map if you're ever in the mood to read it. Um, but but this whole kind of area here is super important. I can't remember what that is. Oh yeah, I remember now. The Russians were terrified of this bridge getting exploded, so they went through and they like armored the bridge. They're like terrified of losing that bridge.
Andrew, actually, is there photos of that by chance anywhere or no?
I don't know. You might be able to find it, but they armor they
Can you
like
zoom back in there real quick? Ukroproska.
that's just the post office. If you're gonna search post office, you're gonna find a lot of post offices. The name of the town
File.
is the Komishuvate, Shuvati,
There we
whatever.
go. We're at a bridge there. Well, I was just going to say the reason this makes sense that why it's important, right? I think the rail line goes Rostov, Mariupol, there, and I think it there. Honestly, it doesn't go all the way to Melitopol or anything like that. It's a different rail line that goes like through Donetsk that makes it all the way towards the west. Um, but yeah, I think that's the area that gets fed by Rostov.
Hey, don't make fun of our American houses. They might they might be made of paper and hope, but you just wait. Uh, because we don't make our houses out of bricks and concrete.
All right, well, Andrew, I gotta hop off now, but thanks. I really appreciate it.
All right, see you later, Paul. Okay, so are there any questions? Let me look. Okay, I don't know. Do any of you have a question that I could answer before we go? Before I end? Yes, they recaptured that trench. Um, sort of. I don't really know where exactly every. The important part is that Ukraine is able to drive down this road. Where exactly Ukraine has captured and recaptured, I'm not entirely sure. This is I have this all kind of as a gray area. The difference between J dams and the Russian bombs is that the Russian bomb is not guided. It's just a bomb of wings. It just it just glides really far. It's not guided. Whereas the J dams is guided. And also, one of the important features of a J dams is if the bomb doesn't know where it is, it doesn't explode. So that's an issue. So there are currently around 390, I think, 390,000 Russians in Ukraine, from my understand. I have the number somewhere. I'll get the number. One sec. I just have to scroll up until I find the number. Uh, Here it is. I think I found it. Um, According to the latest data, Russia has sent 48 brigades and 122 regiments to Ukraine. In total, the enemy has 369,000 personnel and 5,900 units of heavy equipment in Ukraine. So that's that. So 369,000 Russians. It's the current estimate from the Ukrainian government. I don't think the war will end in a stalemate. I think Russia will fail and collapse at some point. Russian reserves, or I mean, how do you want to define a reserve? If you want to look at the total reserves, like legally, if you go by the law in in Russia, they have about 20 million in reserve. If you want to go by how many people Russia can actually send to war, there's 5 million in reserve. If you want to go by how many they could actually in real life send to war, I don't know, a lot less, probably at 300,000 or something. Uh, but yeah, there's the estimate of how many more people Russia can send into battle if everything were in their favor. Like if they had infinite weapons and money, they could probably send 5 million more max. After that, they would run out of people. How many how many mobilized they have deployed. I'm not really sure. I think, from what I understand, they've been mobilizing like 20 or 30,000 a month or something. How many they've deployed, I'm not really sure. The ground, um, it's not doing so good. Let's look at the outlook for the 10-day forecast from the Weather Channel. What's the 10-day forecast from the Weather Channel? It's pretty dry, not bad. This is for Kiev though. Um, let's do uh weather in uh I'll just say Donetsk. Uh-oh. Not great. It's not what you want to see. It's not what you want to see. Not what you want to see. Bad weather. Just rain every day. I think Russia is going to run out of equipment before it runs out of people willing to fight. Russia's strategy right now for finding soldiers is they're leveraging the extreme poverty of their own country. They're saying, we know that you're all really, really poor. You can't pay your bills. Some of you can't afford food. Um, a lot of you are spiraling into debt. We will forgive all of your debt and pay you money on top of it if you come fight. Okay? And a lot of Russians are saying, so I can get 10 years of salary and all of my debt forgiven and more on top of it. Like they're saying like, okay, I'll do that. Okay, so that's kind of the thing. That's what they're doing. They're leveraging poverty to fight. They're sending in the poorest people they can find because they are lining up to volunteer to fight. It's just the way it is. Yeah. That's yes, they're gonna run out of armor soon. Realistically, I've heard. Okay, so from what I understand, Russia has about 2,500 tanks that are currently active, and then in addition to that, they have around 1,000 that they're repairing, but they can only repair about 44 a month. So it's going to take them a while to repair 1,000 if they do 44 a month. So you could say that they have around 2,500 tanks currently that they can throw into combat. And then after that, they're going to have like 44 a month after that. These 2,500, if you're losing like a few a day, those 2,500 are not going to last very long. And once they're gone, they're going to be in a lot of trouble. I really think Russia's going to run out of armor before you realize that they're going to run out of armor. In storage, Russia has about 4,000 tanks in storage. But of those 4,000, um, some of them may not be able to be repaired, and the rest are going to be very slowly repaired. It'll probably take them around 9 years to pull them all out of storage. And the Russian economy is in a lot of trouble. It's in a lot of trouble. Um, I'm not really an economist though, but they're in a lot of trouble. They're every economic marker is bad for Russia. They're losing out on their skilled workers because a lot of them left the country. A lot of their skilled workers are now like in Uzbekistan, Turkey, Georgia, China. That's kind of where all of their their best workers are around there. And then they also have a bunch went to a bunch went like over here in like the UAE and whatever. So they're losing out on their skilled workforce. They've lost tons of people, and not only they've lost millions of people who have fled the country, but they also have lost out on the people moving into Russia, which was their economy hinged on people moving into Russia, and they're not anymore. So that it's kind of a double whammy that they're not getting people in, and they lost a whole bunch out. Plus, on top of that, all the people they lost in war, plus all of the debt that they're taking on from the war itself. It's all just not good. It's all very bad. All very bad. Yeah, there's very few positive things you could say about the Russian economy right now. There's a lot of people who have been pretending that their economy was doing okay, including a lot of Russians, and they're not pretending so much anymore. They're kind of not talking about it. The Russian the way that the Russian car industry works, I'll explain it to you. It's pretty simple. See, what they do is they go to China, they buy a car from China, and they tell the Chinese, "We will pay you money if you disassemble parts of the car." And then China disassembles some cars, and by that they often they take the wheels off, they take like the steering wheel off, they might take the engine out, and like basic stuff, and then they ship those partially these disassembled cars up to Russia, where Russia puts those disassembled parts back in, and then they put on a stamp that says "Made in Russia." That's the Russian car industry. It's fantastic. Why can't we all make cars like that? Okay, so yeah, I think that's all. I think that's all for today. Thank you for coming, everybody. Um,